All right, we'll wait for everyone to queue up, get in here, the live.
Start talking.
But this is our first live I think we've done for the broadcasting room. Shout out Mr. Marler for making us do this. But basically all we're going to be doing today is talking about a year in review, whether that's sports, whether that's school. We'll all go around, give a little bit of information on our sports teams first, and then we'll go into our school year this year. So first I want to talk about the football team, first and foremost. I think that the football team probably had one of the best seasons all year long. We finished with 10, 11 wins, 12 wins. 12 wins, 12 and 2. 2 losses both to Jackson, who's a very good football team, who ended up winning state.
By like 60+. It was like 63 to like 9 or something like that. So like really, I think we should have got second place. But yeah, an amazing year for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I can't remember who they played. Jackson played in the state championship, but it was like 50. It was like 50-something to nothing, and then, I mean, they were literally at halftime. So they could have just given us a runner-up trophy. I mean, that's a bunch of malarkey that we didn't get it, but whatever. But no, we had a great year. Brody Jones had a great year. Tucker Tomlinson, Gunner, Noah Moss especially. And then our defense shined well. It had a few tough tests throughout the season, with obviously Brady going down with his ACL tear, and then putting Braden Smith in there, who had barely been playing corner all season long. He had been playing wide receiver most 7-on-7 and most of the summer. So I think it was good for Braden Smith, with a good learning experience, him and Marjay, and then not having Ollie back there with Bryce. But overall, just a great season. I mean, Finn and Franklin were there. Max was there. Do y'all have anything to add about the football season?
I want to shout out the seniors. Amazing senior class. Andrew Cordy, Ollie Deese, we have Brady Zadib, John
Kurth.
Travis, Cooper Kurth, Rocco Faiapu. Who am I forgetting?
I think that's pretty much all.
That's all of them. Yeah, I mean, Toby Evanston. Just an amazing group of seniors, amazing group of boys that they were going to miss. And these next couple these underclassmen really got to step up. Nigel Mitchell and B, and Ambrose Barr, they got to step up and really take over, because this is gonna be another good year. I think I have another good shot at making it as far as we did.
Yeah, we have a heavy senior class this year. I believe it's like still up in the 20s. It's plus 15 plus seniors this year on the team. All have put in a lot of work. And a lot of these guys are going to be starters. Most of them are returning starters. That's how young of a team we had with only so few seniors last year.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this year. I think it'll be a good year. We kick off the season at Alma Bryant with the Jamboree, and then we also go week 1 at home against Bayside before we travel to John Carroll.
Yeah.
The week after. So we've got a really good schedule for this year. But nonetheless, football was very good. Finn, give me some peace of mind.
I feel like the playoffs were a really big part of that. Going into Birmingham, looking like the underdogs against Pleasant Grove, was it? That was an amazing game. Tough game, defensive-oriented, though our offense found a way to go through the Pleasant Grove defense. And I feel like that was an amazing game that really gave us a morale boost.
Yeah.
Right. At that time, Jackson was ranked 1. We were ranked 4th, and Pleasant Grove was ranked second, I think, behind Fairfield.
And then we're in front of Fairfield next.
Yeah, no, Fairfield was actually one of the bottom teams in the playoffs. They had 2 upsets. I believe they were the 3 seed. They beat the 2 seed, and then went on and beat another high seed. And then they played us, and first half was very, very shaky as we were down at halftime. And it looked like we were, not...
We weren't playing our best football.
No, definitely not in the first half. Then once the second half hit, it was just, like that. We got out, jumped on them, and we scored. And then we got all the extra guys in there, the people who traveled up there with the 2s in. And it was a really good game. But Pleasant Grove, I think, was the highlight of playoffs this year. I think winning that Pleasant Grove game, I think that kind of solidified that, like, we're not here to play. That we're here to freaking win.
That we were serious title contenders at that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
once again at Pleasant Grove, it was a super cold night.
Yeah, it was freezing, and having all those dudes they had on defense, they were a big team, and they could fly. Again, like I said, against Fairfield, a shaky first half a little bit, and then we kind of jumped on them in the second half, late in the fourth, and kind of just overtook them and won by 20 plus. So I think that was a great year for football. Definitely one that's not going to be forgotten. Making playoffs or winning a playoff game, having a home playoff game, and then making all the way to the state semifinals. Never been done here before, so it's been great.
It's great about the football team, but how did the broadcasting team do? How did y'all feel about that?
For broadcasting, it was definitely a big plus from the year before. So I played football the year before, but I would do like all the middle school games. We'd be in the back of a pickup truck with the little simple table, and then going to this year, we were in a booth. It was really amazing to see the transformation.
What do y'all remember some of the games that y'all were doing?
Yeah, a lot of it. I remember we would get to the field around 4 or 5 o'clock, have like a pregame meal. Usually we'd stop by Publix, get some sushi because it was on a Friday. It would just one little something, one little sushi.
Yeah.
And and then we would kind of help set up the cameras, run through the whole thing.
Probably about 2 hours before the game.
Yeah, about 2 hours before the game. Help set up cameras, making sure everything's going.
What was the hardest game that we had to broadcast? Do y'all remember?
UMS. UMS was very.
What night was that on?
That was Halloween night. Halloween night at UMS. I think I was the only one that was there. Me, Mr. Tony, my dad, and Mr. Marlowe. I think Jack was there too. But yeah, Tony always says the Goblins were out that night. They were just messing with our Wi-Fi.
Sixth
it was
try
bad.
broadcast.
Yeah, there was a lot. But we ended up winning that game too.
That was a thriller.
Game.
I gotta say, probably one of my best memories from WCN was the Pensacola. The Pensacola Christian
was a
really
Pensacola.
good game.
Yeah.
It was a amazing game, a nail biter all the way down, and it was a really good game to broadcast. Really exciting, lots of great moments. In the Bayside game, of course, finally taking a win.
Yeah.
Amidst
For
the
sure.
bad
Took us
internet
long
connection
enough.
too.
Yeah.
It was a really good season for the WCN.
We had a couple games that were freezing.
Fairfield.
Fairfield, Pleasant Grove,
Final
Jackson.
game, yeah.
Jackson
Jackson.
game.
Yeah, all
that
playoff
Jackson
games.
Game
They
was
were
cold
freezing.
too. And then first time playoffs finally beating Hanley since from last year.
Another high scoring game too.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
Other
They-
things.
Here at our
Yeah.
home stadium, that first
Yeah, that was here at our
game
home
here.
stadium.
Uh-huh.
Y'all got to broadcast that first one.
Well, outside sports for the WCN, we did our polls. We did a lot of those. And for the broadcast class in general, it's less work in the class, more work outside of class. You do
Yeah,
a
we
lot
did,
of stuff. Broadcasting polls. We did a trick shot video. We do our podcast in here
podcasts.
sometime.
Podcasts are really fun. I think that's
Yeah.
probably one of the most enjoyable things for my time here. And hopefully going into next year. We had 8th period football. Me and a bunch of senior boys came in here and did a podcast almost every single day. Swanee and the boys, go check it out. Lots of good videos. But I mean, I think that was the most enjoyable thing was the podcast. It was like I had fun editing them. I had fun watching them back, getting all the reactions, seeing all the parts that I had to clip out because they were either just hilarious or they just didn't fit well. So I think podcasts were probably the most fun.
Yeah, podcasts
out of
were
all
really
the
fun.
things.
Podcasts were enjoyable.
Really liked it. Mm-hmm.
taking another look at sports. What else we had? We had swim going on. Swim did
Yeah,
really
swim-
good. A lot
swim
of
did
girls
pretty good.
made it to state.
Soccer.
Bowling. The bowling men's made it to state.
Yeah.
Tennis and track and field.
Tennis did very good this year.
Yeah.
The whole team made it to state. I think that's like the first time in a while.
And baseball. Baseball is really good. Going from like 2 games winning last year.
They
to,
won.
like,
They won a singular game last year.
Yeah, 1 game last year. This year we're in like 10 plus.
13. I think we had
Yeah.
13 at the end of the season. I think we went 13 and 15. So kind of just like obviously with Coach Bez coming in and rebuilt this program.
For sure.
So obviously it's not the outcome he wanted. He obviously wanted to make playoffs like every other coach. But I mean, what a solid start to his tenure here at St. Michael.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and then basketball. We had some crazy moments this basketball season.
Oh, basketball
yeah.
season was fun.
I think
Sorry, out of the Bayside game. The
That
James-
buzzer beater.
Bayside game was amazing.
I think the most fun we had at the basketball games was everything was unexpected.
Mhm.
We either would win by 20 plus or it'd be a nail biter down to the end. I believe it was Houston Academy. That was a game where, I mean, all sorts of craziness happened.
Yeah.
We come back from down 20 plus, led by Cooper and Marjay, putting up big points, and JMO too being just a great player. And then, I mean,
Was that when they took the final shot at the end?
Yeah.
It looks like a foul.
yeah, and then we got the ball, and I think it was Marjay who actually put up a floater. Marjay grabbed the ball, stole it, and put up a floater to go by 2 with like maybe 6-7 seconds left.
Yeah.
And then we Houston Academy drives it down, and then there's Helper, and I think Bryce was in there. Cooper Helper and Bryce both stood there and took a charge, and they called no foul on either team, and he missed the layup, and it was ball game, and it was just all sorts of craziness.
Who made that shot?
I believe it was
Marjay.
Marjay.
Yeah. And then stands definitely got really rowdy that
Oh,
night.
Yeah.
A lot of heckling at the refs. It was, though, either way, it was a fun night to film, fun night to commentate.
Absolutely, and it was over Christmas break too. So
Yeah, it was.
There was
Mhm.
a lot of people there for it being over Christmas break, so it was a really good outcome. I mean, that was probably one of the most fun games I had being on the call with you guys.
For sure.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Max, how was the boys soccer team this year? How they finished off and doing?
No, I mean, I would say my favorite thing about WCN was all the sports that we broadcasted this year. But I feel like every team had its own like shock nature, kind of like a underdog nature this year.
Yeah,
for sure.
And soccer team had every bit of that for sure. We had 12 seniors leave, and so when you have 12 seniors leave, I mean that's no matter what, that's like a whole starting roster for a soccer team.
Yeah.
And so you're just the underdog no matter what, and that's what everybody's gonna think. But no, we did really good, and it was a very young team. But I would say we shocked a lot of people. Best soccer team record ever in men's soccer history.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
that's pretty
then
good.
what's his name, Raphael?
Yeah, Rafa.
Breaking the school goals record.
Yep, and his brother was the previous holder.
Yeah, speaking of underdogs, the men's 4x8 team I was on for track, we were ranked I think 4th, and the 4x8, and came first in sectionals, and then got 15th in the state. We did pretty well.
Yeah, that's really good. Not to take the shine away from football and basketball and all those other big sports, but I think it's the little sports that don't get talked about, like swim and cross country and track and tennis, and golf. Even golf had a great season. I think they made sectionals. Unfortunately, lost. And then tennis did exceptionally well. Their whole team made state. They all won sectionals.
Girls soccer team state runner-ups.
The girls soccer team 3rd year in a row.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, we were hoping for a win against Westminster, but
2-1 loss. It's always them. Very close.
We'll get them back next year. It'll probably be St. Michael and Westminster again. But just a great sports year for St. Michael. You really didn't have any team that was like lacking wins. No. You didn't have any team that was, who didn't make playoffs. Actually, besides just a few. But I think for the most part, I think this might be the best year that St. Michael's had in sports in
definitely
a very long time.
I would agree.
So, and then now kind of I want to move into the school year, and move away from sports. I think it's been a great school year this year. I think it's been kind of different.
So, yeah.
With having some new teachers, some new faces around. Obviously,
new classes too.
Yeah, obviously this class, a new class with Mr.
seminar.
Marlowe, AP seminar, AP capstone program. So a lot of great things from St. Michael this year. And Dr. Williamson has just done a great job with everything. Her, Miss East, everybody in that front office, and then especially with how stressful college is for us upcoming juniors. I think I want to give a quick shout out to Miss Codwell, who's kind of been with everyone step by step, with whether that's taking the ACT, whether that's with AP stuff, or whether that's with you're just trying to set up a college visit. Miss Codwell's been the GOAT all year long. So, and Miss Calvary. Miss Calvary's been the GOAT. Shout out Miss Calvary. So Finn, you got anything to add?
I wanted to talk a little bit about people who wanted to join broadcast and what it's really like, because I know we do have a lot of people who are signing up from next year.
Yeah.
And broadcast next year, again, will be broadcasting the football games. So we need a lot of help running cameras. We can get more action views and stuff like that. Again, we'll have people rotating for commentary.
And get a camera on the Jumbotron, too.
Camera on the Jumbotron, too. And in class, you'll mainly be working on polls, editing videos. You'll be doing your podcasts. And really, it's a really fun class. It's nice if you try to join it. For a freshman, it's shown as really not that manageable. But if you're able to find rides somewhere, you'll always be able to get to the games. And it was really worth it to take it early. And it's a really fun class, and we hope we get a lot more people to join.
Yeah, it is a really fun class. And I think it also helps with, speaking for me. I stutter quite a bit sometimes, and I think this class has made me feel more comfortable with speaking to people who I can't see, which is good.
Quick, if we're talking about next year, we're talking about the football games. If y'all were the core group.
Yeah.
Y'all were the core group. We usually had BD in the booth, Mr. Tony in the booth, and we'd have two of y'all would be in the booth. One would mainly be, what do they call it?
Color commentary and stats.
Yeah.
We had one on camera. Max was
stat person, right?
Yeah.
The stats is
And
really
so,
helpful.
and the stats were huge. So usually everybody. That's what I'm trying to say. What are those different positions, and then what were the other positions we're going to have on the field to integrate with that broadcast, which would be the camera positions? You know what I'm talking about? I mean, we
Right.
have two up top.
Yeah, we usually have two up top. Usually Jack and my dad are going to run those. We have one. I think we have one or two on the field.
We have one on each end zone.
And then we'll have,
be running the camera, and then hopefully a fan cam. or a sideline
Yeah.
cam. You know what I'm
I
talking about?
think we had Justin Barfield helping with the fan cam
Yeah,
in some of the
Mason
games.
Maldonis,
Yeah,
too.
and then
Mason Maldonis,
in
yeah.
the booth, we have Mr. Tony running the board, and then me or Finn doing play-by-play or stats with an app, and then BD doing color. BD would do play-by-play. We would do color, which is like adding
Mhm.
just commentary behind.
If
And
we have that many people, then we can
Yeah.
really rotate in
yeah,
more people on the cameras.
people get to
so
sit in
y'all
the student
enjoy
section this year. You know, it's
Mhm.
makes it more manageable, especially for away games.
Right.
Like John Carroll's gonna be a huge game that we're gonna travel all the way up to Birmingham to. Probably an overnight trip if I had to guess. That's gonna be a big game for us because lugging all that equipment up there. Mr. Marlowe, Finn, Franklin, and Mr. Tony and Coach Beatty will tell you it's not an easy task to take down stuff, put it in the bus, and then bring it back down. And unpacking's the same way.
One thing we forgot about was the WS Neal game where we got stuck.
I was about to say that,
Yeah,
yeah.
We were on I-65 and about 20 minutes out of St. Michael, and the small bus blows a tire. And said we have all the gear, so Finn's dad has to come pick us up and bring us to WS Neal.
Yeah.
We're like 10 minutes for the game.
We got back at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
coming back because blew out a tire on the way up.
Yeah.
That was definitely a really memorable experience. And
it's a lot
yeah,
of prep, sometimes on those games when the dew's falling, you got to have tents up so it doesn't get on the equipment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Rain's coming down.
Yeah.
You're trying to work through that.
we arrived just before game time. We got everything. Mr. Tony set everything up. Big thanks to Mr. Tony for all the stuff he's done, even when we're not there. And we ended up getting the broadcast afloat, though. That was definitely an amazing experience. And if you join broadcast class, you will definitely get a lot of experiences like those, a lot of fun memories that you'll carry into your later years.
I will say another one of the fun experiences in broadcasting was I was lucky enough to get to interview Coach Rivers, which is like super cool because he's been interviewing guys like Tony Romo and Chris Collinsworth and all those guys. So I mean, it might have been a step down from all those top commentators and interviewers.
No, I don't think so. WCN's up there. We have 2,000 subscribers.
But I mean, it was just really cool to get his perspective. Talk football, which is my favorite sport, with him. As an NFL, he's an NFL quarterback. And he's a coach, so he knows what he's talking about. So it's really cool to see how he sees things. But also any interview, like I interviewed Cooper Kurth this year. Interviewed Cooper Helper and Jameson Calvary. I think it's pretty cool to interview them to get a player's perspective on things. So I think interviews were a huge part of this year, and I think they were a huge part of stepping into the shoes of the athlete and the coach, and seeing what they're thinking, at that time, but also what they might be thinking on the field.
Right.
So I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
What was the athlete of the week called? What were we doing?
The WCN Memorial.
The
Yeah,
Billy
Billy
Langford.
Langford Memorial.
Yeah.
I want to give big thanks to Mr. Tony. He has helped us through everything, through podcasts, setting up the board, being at the football games. Mr. Tony really helped shape the WCN. He did the Friday morning announcements at school.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
brought all
Wizard
the
of
camera
Oz.
stuff in his truck. Yeah, he's been a really big part of the WCN that you really just don't see as much. He's mainly behind the cameras. He'll occasionally chime in, but he is one of the most underlining, really, effects of the Wild Cardinal Network that gets its running.
I mean, he's one of the only reasons. Him and Mr. Morrow are one of the only reasons that the WCN is here today, and because they followed through with that dream that just a few guys had sitting there at Archangel Radio. So I think that's really cool, and I think it's really special that we have something like this, and we have something to highlight our community and our school, and to really get people's names out there. Because people see our broadcast, people see the things that we do, and it's not. I can't take any credit. Finn can't take any credit. Frank can't take any credit. It's all Mr. Tony, Mr. Marlowe, and the guys who helped found this, the WCN.
Well, y'all do get to take some credit. You do get it on the bikes.
That's right.
You guys are the magicians, Mr. Marlowe. You guys are the magicians.
What was one of the things we did for Lent? What was one of the things we did for Lent in the class?
Oh, yeah.
We went to Wawa.
Yeah.
The Wawa field trip.
The Wawa field
What
trip.
did we do that just didn't
A
seem
daily
like
reflection.
It was a big deal, but we did the what?
A daily reflection.
The daily reflection.
I think those were really good because
I mean,
we get to walk in every day and we get to read a reflection, and I think many people during Lent try and pray more and try and do more things to grow deeper in their faith, and I think that really helped all of us. Just hearing and listening to one of us read the reflection, I think that helped grow in our faith. But also Franklin getting Father Connor. Franklin, you want to talk about that and getting all your guests?
My podcast, the Catholic Catch Up, had I think 8 episodes over the year, and it was really good. I think I had guests like Josh Murphy, Father Connor, Father Patrick. It was a really good year for that. Father Connor came on once or twice, and we covered a lot of topics from Mary to the Advent season. To really just many different aspects of the Catholic faith. I learned a lot. I hope y'all did too.
Oh yeah.
And because these guys they're really deep in their faith and really role models for really all these guys here. So it was a really good podcast for me, and I loved editing it and just learning a lot about the faith.
Yeah. Finn, you want to tell us a little bit about your podcast, the AU Breakdown?
Yep. Finn's AU Breakdown. I think we did 8 or 9 episodes. And they mainly just focus about Auburn sports, recruiting, football, basketball, whatever it is. We started around the tail end of football season, and we picked up all the way through basketball season. Mm-hmm. We had a few episodes that we could have uploaded, but we lost some audio, so we wouldn't be able to do that because we had an Auburn basketball season review that we weren't able to upload. But overall, it was a really fun podcast to do. I really like talking about Auburn. Mitchell is a great co-host to have on the podcast, and bringing in fellow Auburn fans from around school, it's a really fun thing to do.
So if we have new students rolling in for broadcasting 1 next year, because y'all would be rolling up to broadcasting 2, what would your advice to be for those kids coming in? Because y'all sort of set the mark.
Yeah, well, if they do
the
podcast again, find something you're interested in. Because I did like an NFL overview for the first time, and I'm like, yeah, I mean that's cool, but I'm not really super interested in that. And then I love my Catholic faith. I'm like, I want to learn more about this. So if you're gonna do the podcast, just do what you love. Find something you're interested in, and then make the best out of it. Don't just slack off. Don't do the assignments. Like, do the assignments and make the best of it. Because I mean, you might it's an easy A, but you're still gonna get some good public speaking knowledge out of it and stuff like that.
Yeah, just do what you love. I mean,
do what you love. That's right. What you
yeah.
feel comfortable with on the mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Turning in your work on time is a big part of it, or turning in your work in general. All your work outside of class.
Yeah.
So.
Probably the hardest thing about the hardest thing about the class is not because we're in class. This is easy.
Yeah.
The hardest part is
it's the time commitment.
Going to the games.
Yeah.
Right.
Time commitment. I mean,
but it's also you also get praised a lot. I mean, I've had countless of my people say, "Hey, you do a great job with the broadcast. You have such a good voice, stuff like that." Like I got told this morning. So I mean,
anybody remember when we started the year? Does anybody remember what our subscriber number was?
It was like 1,400.
It was under 1,400. Now we have.
Started in August, right?
Yeah,
yes.
like
Does anybody
1360.
know what our subscriber count
I
now
believe
is?
we're
About
at-
2,500.
Yeah.
24. It's 24. I can tell you, 35.
It's about
So
1,000.
in a year, we've gained 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And some people don't really think that's a big deal, but in the scheme of things, we have about. So the number of people that actually watch are on a monthly basis are around 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But we've converted some of those to subscribers.
Yeah.
So we went from 1,400.
Yeah, and a
to
big
over
part of it is
2,400.
a big part of it is the football games. I think the Jackson game was huge for us, and we had
3,000. I think it was 3,300.
yeah, we
Yeah,
had I
it
think we had
was-
800 people watching at one time. Yeah, it was insane.
I think it got up to 500 at one time.
Yeah, it was.
was
I mean,
amazing.
it was.
A lot of
Yeah,
people.
and
crazy.
you had people taking from the broadcast and highlighting some of those guys from St. Michael, obviously Brody, Tucker, Noah, and then also guys from Jackson like Landon Duckworth and EJ Crowell. So I mean, the WCN doesn't just give exposure to athletes that are only from St. Michael. It also gets, it gets more exposure for everyone. So like if
what can we do if we know we do the sports games. We know y'all are doing podcasts. We started with those Friday morning announcements, making that pretty cool. But what are some ideas for some other people like that y'all could highlight if you wanted to? What can we do here at the school? What are some other clubs that you think could actually utilize from the YouTube broadcast?
Yeah, I think bringing in clubs would be a cool thing. If we do, if we have one person designate like their podcast to a certain club or a certain maybe the staff have a certain teacher come in and explain their class, explain how the year is going.
Some missed opportunities would be for what are some of the clubs you think could help them do what they're trying to do? Like
definitely men's Bible study because for men's Bible study, I know me and Mitch are going to lead it next year. We're really going to try to broadcast it a lot more next year, and let the students know. I feel like this year is kind of just it was once you're in their mind, that's kind of everyone who has it. Because they didn't
come on. Would that have been something to do to come on?
Right,
and
for
talk
sure.
about maybe
Yeah.
What y'all did the past week, or maybe what you're coming up to do,
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
girls.
then y'all have like
Yeah.
speakers and stuff sometimes that would come in.
Yes.
Yeah, every Wednesday
Bishop
morning.
Ray came. Mr. Williams, Mr. Martin, Father Connor came one time, I believe. So a lot of good speakers. Also, it's good food too. We moms either cook breakfast or they go buy some kolaches from donut shop, or we get donuts.
Those are good.
So I mean, I think we're gonna try and get a little bit of fundraising for that, so we can.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna do some
Do
adding from
you
days.
think the peer helpers could have benefited from coming in here and talking
I think
about
for
I
sure.
Yeah.
helpers, service clubs. I think the service
Is
clubs.
there service clubs that could have done it?
Mhm.
Well, I think one of the most
Underrated.
underrated are the most not talked about, but we have it here, and they sort of do it, but the houses.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't ever highlight what the houses are doing, or it always sort of ends up being a thing on maybe just a blurb, but maybe letting somebody or one of y'all work with the houses to work with
Yeah.
coming in to highlight what they're doing. You know
Yeah,
what
and
I'm
I
talking
think that we can get the president from each house, or the communications officer from each house, and come talk about their house just for a little bit. What's going on in the community. But also, I think student government would be a great idea too.
Yeah,
Get Andrew Kiernan to come on here and talk about what's going on
Yeah.
within the student government. What are we doing? Like homecoming. Homecoming's a big thing that people are always stressing out about. Homecoming, Sadie's prom. So I think it'll be a good idea for
for sure.
someone to just come on here and give some details, because I feel like people always miss the little details that are pretty important for most things. So I think just getting someone on here just talk about it for a little bit, go over the rules, go over what is to be expected, like just the information about it. So I mean, I think that'd be a great idea.
I think we're just about out of time. So that was a good little
Yeah, that
live
was a very
stream.
good live stream.
So
Good live
make
stream.
sure you tune in. We'll be posting some more. We're gonna try to do as much as we can during summertime, but really around August we'll start kicking up again with football. That's to be our biggest thing. Make sure if you want an ad spot, they are still available. I mean, it's $1,500,
Sponsorships.
and you'll get a lot of sponsorships.
What
You
now?
email the WCN at WCN
Ooh,
at
let's do-
stmichaelchs.org.
Who were our WN sponsors? WCN
Yeah.
We had
sponsors. Who were they?
Mr. Coles out at CMG. Shout out Mr. Gary.
He was
we
our-
also had.
our halftime sponsor too. Wasn't
Yes, he
Yeah.
was. And then
Emerald
we also
Homes,
had
Emerald Homes, of the
Emerald
Gulf
Homes.
Coast,
We
Pickering
had-
Building,
MH3.
They were our
MH3.
post-game sponsor.
Yeah.
They were our pre-game sponsor.
Yep.
MH3 did
Gulf
it.
Coast
was
Animal-
a sponsor. Who was another one?
The Animal Clinic,
Weed Solutions
Weed
Plus.
Solutions Plus.
I mean,
Solution Plus.
the Animal
Mhm.
Clinic.
Animal Clinic.
Yeah.
Animal Medical
Underground
Center.
Pump and Pipe came in late in
Yep.
the year,
Underground
and
Pump and Pipe. That was Mr. Gross. They got
Mhm.
kids at Christ
Yeah.
the King 5.
Yeah, it's just a lot of sponsors that we really appreciated.
Who was another sponsor? Don't forget them. Wasn't it JJPR?
Oh, the
JJPR, yeah.
Dentist.
Dr. Frank.
Yeah,
Kerbal.
Dr. Kerbal.
Dr.
Yep.
Kerbal
Mhm.
was a sponsor. Southern Endodontics.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who was another sponsor? Don't want to forget who was Jack McCormick's. He was the post-game sponsor. The Homes.
Emerald Homes.
Homes.
No, not
Animal-
Emerald Home. Emerald Homes. is
Homes to the
Thomas
Gulf
Homes.
Coast. Or
Huh?
That's the
Emerald
pregame.
Homes.
Pre-game was that, but post-game was was it the Southern Home Builders? Who was it? Hold on, I'm gonna give them all for you because we got to give them all a shout out. If we don't, we're
Yeah.
gonna be in trouble. with
Also,
them.
if you want to sponsor, maybe we can put your logo on the TV right here when we do our breakdown
That's right.
for
We
each
can
week in
do
the football
that.
season, breaking down each game. But also, if you want to sponsor us, maybe your name, your business name, can be there for the Coach Rivers interview and the coach's interview.
Ooh, Clear Path Restoration.
Clear Path
Oh,
Restoration.
CPR. Yep.
Pickering.
We got Pickering.
Yeah, we got Pickering.
Pickering. Oh, you did say
Shout out
Pickering?
Pickering.
So this year so far, I'll give you the ones that have already committed to us. We've got Coles Murphy Glover, Southern Endodontics, Barranco and Associates.
There we go. Shout out Mr. Branco.
Emerald Homes of the Gulf Coast is committed. Animal Medical Center is committed. A new one, Crow Shields and Bailey.
Ah. Shout out Crow Shields and Bailey.
And then, of course, MH3 is committed, and Underground Pump and Pipe is committed so far. So we're looking for a few more for this year.
Yeah, we want to fill out as many ad spots as we can.
And what was that? Did y'all enjoy doing the ad spots? Did y'all
Oh,
enjoy
yeah,
doing
absolutely.
the reads?
That was
They're
first
fun.
first day of class.
They're funny.
I think that was, through a little bit of trial and error, getting people, like reading a word wrong. It was funny. It was kind of, there were a few moments where you'd laugh, but I mean, other than that, they all sounded great.
And what were those ad spots? How long were those ad spots?
30 seconds.
15, 30
There was
seconds.
a 15 and a 30-second
30
ad spot.
Sure was.
And they would play like during like timeouts in football games or after kickoff, halftime, stuff
Now,
like
did
that.
that roll to basketball? Were we able to do that?
They
We
did
did
not
a
roll to
little bit
basketball.
in basketball, like during halftime maybe, but not a ton.
No, we really couldn't
Yeah.
do that like that, could we? But,
No.
maybe we're going to try something with the new production truck software. We
Yeah.
could run an ad on the bottom or something like that. Were we able to do any volleyball games last year?
We weren't.
We were unable because of football season.
I know. And maybe with our increased numbers,
Yeah.
we could add
Yeah, we get
maybe one volleyball
Yeah.
game during the week,
Mhm.
The volleyball sort of be set up just like what?
Just like basketball.
Basketball.
And
Yeah.
we did do some wrestling this year.
Oh, wrestling.
And during some dead
with
periods,
Adam Hicks and,
Jay-
with Coach Hicks.
did we
And
hear,
Chase
did we
Patterson.
heard it, and it's funny, the wrestling started out with so many kids, and then it sort of dwindled down to the 2 or 3 that were wrestling, and so, and
Yeah.
Patterson went to state.
yeah.
Yep.
Didn't he?
Chase Patterson.
And I hear Coach Adam Hicks is coming back, so.
Oh, that'd be exciting.
That's a good deal. He's battling brain cancer, but we
Mhm.
hope it's going right. That's it. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff, but the hardest commitment is the stuff outside of,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's not so much the in-class stuff. We tried to make that sort of fun, but the outside stuff is the hardest.
Yeah.
Because it is, it's hard because once the game's over with, what do you gotta do?
Clean up.
Got to clean up.
Clean
Pack
up.
up and clean up, and that's a lot of.
But I will say now it is not as grueling because of
Why
Mr.
not?
Tony.
What'd he
Because
do?
Mr. Tony has a portable box where you can plug everything into. So Mr. Tony's been working hard trying to make everything a little bit easier on us for
Exactly.
cleanup, and it's worked, especially with, it used to be you got to put everything in a certain
Yeah.
box, and there would be a huge box.
Break down the cameras.
But middle of the basketball season, I remember I was cleaning up after a game, and I was like, all right, where's all the boxes? And he's like, no, they all plug into this one box, and they all go back in the box. And I said, well, it's pretty cool what Mr. Tony's been able to do, what he's been able to
It is
figure
to help
out
make
through.
the broadcast happen like it has.
Yeah.
It's done a great job.
And if you're ever worried about not becoming a sponsor because you think that none of us will care, it's because we hand counted the number of 15 and
Right,
30-second
we
ad
did.
spots that you had, and then
Yeah.
we send a handwritten email after every.
Why do we do that?
every game.
Why were we?
Shows
why
our
did we do
appreciation.
that?
Yeah.
We did that, but we were doing that so we could understand how many times we gave a sponsor a nod during the game. or
Right.
something
Yeah.
like that, which
Things
is a
will be
big-
fair.
It's a big to do.
Yeah.
It is a big to do. But hopefully, with our increased numbers in the class, we can add the fan cam.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what was the PTO bought us the so we could use the cameras so that all the camera people could do what?
Talk.
Talk
The
to each
headsets,
other.
the
They bought us the headsets.
We
Yeah.
could talk
Headsets.
to each other because y'all were in the booth, but we couldn't hear that when we were on cameras. But the camera folks could actually talk to each other, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Which is kind of a cool deal. I mean, that sort of made it kind of fun, for all the people that volunteered with us.
Yeah.
Right.
So hopefully with a little funding and all of our sponsors, we can buy some new equipment, some better equipment.
We're expanding the studio.
Yeah. Expanding the studio in here.
Over here, we sure are.
We'll
Um,
have 2 or 3 studios.
So
Hopefully by the end of next
sponsor,
year.
whether you know it or not, sponsorships are very important to us, and we really sincerely thank you from the bottom of our hearts that you sponsor WCN and that you allow this to continue growing and to continue to go out to all the sports
If
and
we
to
get
highlight
that
our
one more sponsor, then we may get our
Oh,
shirts.
shirts.
There we
yeah.
go.
We want the WCN shirts. We know what
Mhm.
they look like, but
Yeah.
we surely want those
Yeah,
shirts. You
right.
know what I mean? I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
What, I know we always talk about the positives, but what are just a couple of the downsides? I mean, what are the downsides of, there's got to be some. It's not all roses. You
Yeah.
know that.
No.
It's a lot of work.
You're
But
tired.
it is more work than what maybe you're used to in a class, right?
If you're a rising 9th grader, you'll be getting home really late for a lot of the away games,
Yes.
and it's a lot of work after school. And if you aren't able to drive, it's difficult. But if you're able to find rides,
Yeah.
it's a bit
And
easier.
we'll work out probably hopefully the transportation stuff, but and hopefully we can open it up to do more stuff.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Where everybody, especially with increased numbers, you got to remember y'all were the crew. First off, I mean, we were asking people just to help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but y'all were like that first crew in. I mean,
Yeah.
the year before it was sort of, oh, we just showed up and we talked and we went on. You know what I mean? And then it got serious. You know, with
Right.
the sponsorships. But football serious. I mean, we're talking about having. I mean, the only people that beat us last year for football were who?
Jackson.
Jackson. They beat us in
All
the regular
summer
season,
and all year.
and they beat us at the playoffs. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the playoff, we came super close.
Mm-hmm.
At that
Yeah.
playoff game,
It
and we
was-
came closer than anybody because Jackson blew out the
Right.
the game in the finals. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
we could have taken it to them, but we know that's going to be a tough one. But we got a receiving core.
That's
Brody
legit.
Jones, Noah Moss, Tucker Tomlinson,
Yeah.
and whoever else is coming up.
And we got Gunner.
We got Gunner
Mhm.
behind it, and oh my gosh, and then you're just hoping the line's there, and we could be knocking on the door to go to the state championship, which
Yeah.
would be,
That's right.
you know, we could be broadcast, and so what did we change over? What did we do at the playoffs because of the AHSAA rules?
It was only like a radio broadcast.
Yeah, it was
We had
audio.
the cameras on
On us.
on us, and so
Yeah.
y'all were the ones having to verbally, colorfully give out what was happening during the games, and that was tough when it was cold.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Very,
It was
very cold.
cold. It was tough, but we got through it. But if we make it to the finals and we're at the playoffs, we're going to do that. We're
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
to go do the same thing. We're going to pay that money, and we're going to let y'all be on the broadcast and let y'all be the ones doing the talking, which is kind
Yeah.
of cool. I mean, you know, you don't get the glory of being on the video, but you'll get the glory. That's only unless we become the Wild Card Network comes to what? An affiliate
Of the AHSAA.
Yeah.
And if we do that, then we'll be able to do the game too. So that's what's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I think that's a
So,
wrap.
I mean,
That'd be
Yeah.
a wrap for this
Yeah,
live
we're gonna
stream.
wrap it
Back,
up. We got
all the time we
5
have.
back
minutes
at
here. What are we
school.
doing?
So, yeah, thank y'all for watching. We're really excited about this
Give
next
your
year.
names,
For
give what you're doing, and
yeah,
and
I'm
hopefully
Franklin
we can-
Cash. Will be a senior next year. Lead commentator and statistician last year in football during the football games, and this year we'll do a lot more. So,
Mhm.
signing off.
Yeah. Finn.
Found it. Nugget. See ya.
Finn Lars, rising sophomore, color commentator, statistician, runs some camera for basketball, and I'm excited to come next year.
Yeah.
Max?
Max Cox, rising senior. See you next year.
Yeah. Mitchell Swanson. We'll see you guys next year. Please sponsor us. We need all the sponsors that we can get.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll be doing some stuff over the summer that we can keep you guys posted on and updated on for all sports. That's been all from me, Finn, Franklin, and Max for one last time this year. See you guys next time.
We are out.